I'm at the Las Vegas Convention Center at the SEMA Expo. If you're not familiar, this is one of the largest automotive aftermarket events in the world. We're going to take a look at some of the welding and fabrication tools they have here, as well as some of the cars. So I was barely able to scratch the surface just spending one day here at the show. There were trucks that were insanely tall with matching radio flyers. You had exotic cars as well as classics and dedicated racers. Where else are you going to see a Lambo set up for an overland camping adventure? There were engines of all sorts as well as a lot of electric vehicles with no engine at all. And if the quiet of that EV bugs you, there's even electronic exhaust tips. There was a lot of welding to see. Some of the welding on cars was definitely better than it was on others. But overall, I really enjoyed the art, and this nice K5, if I could pick any car to take home, yeah, it'd be this one. Well, as much as I like cars, I like tools and fabrication even more, so let's go ahead and get into some of the booths that really stood out to me. I barely scratched the surface, but I'll show you some of the highlights. There were a few companies with laser welding or cleaning machines, but the only one set up to do live demos that I saw was Serra Laser Center, who is a distributor for the Lightweld IPG photonic systems. They had a couple different systems set up here, and I actually got to try one out. It was really cool. So they use a gun like this with a nozzle at the end and a little standoff to control your focal length and a wire feeder. So it just follows along the joint simply like this and gave out a pretty slick result. Now, if you take a look at the actual run here, notice how consistent the travel speed is. That's not just being good. The wire feeder actually controls your travel speed and pushes you along as you weld, so it's pretty simple to do. Now, I don't know that this is going to replace arc welding in every joint configuration, but if you have the right joint set up, it really is a neat technology to be able to laser weld by hand like this. So I was glad to try it out. I stopped by the SendCutSend booth, and I was impressed by some of the new services that they're offering. They're no longer just a laser cut shop. They'll bend, add dimple dies, form things, tap holes, install these threaded inserts as well as studs, and even coat materials with powder coating or anodize. This gold anodize is actually the same that they did on my sign that you see in my shop. Now they have zinc plating as well as some new offerings where they'll take a cardboard template that you can send them, turn that into your part itself. So for example, they took that cardboard template, made an inexpensive prototype to check it before making a run of actual parts for a customer here. So that's really cool. If you aren't used to using the CAD, you can also send them a napkin sketch like this with a few hand-drawn dimensions, and they'll draw up your part for you. So you basically have a full fabrication shop right at your fingertips. Pretty cool stuff. I stopped by the Miller Electric booth, and in addition to their Multimatic and Dynasty TIG options they've had for a while, as well as their plasma cutters, they had a new product. It was a 120 volt MIG, the Millermatic 142 that they're offering. Now this brings a digital display onto their 120 volt lineup with auto set, so you can just set your material thickness as well as wire diameter, or you can go old school and just set it for voltage and wire feed speed. Looks like a pretty nice little 120 volt machine. I also got a demo of their Cobot cell, and this is a small robotic welding setup where you actually just move the robot around and select points. You can fine tune it with a joystick on the top, click a button to actually record your different points, and that's really all there is to it, and it's programmed and ready to weld. It was pretty cool to see this thing spring to life with such easy programming, and it came out with a pretty slick weld in the end. Not a bad setup. Next, I stopped by the Serra Cars booth, and they make these little race cars that are crazy fast, like supercar fast, and they can run on and off the road. What does this have to do with welding? Well, they're starting to offer their chassis here as a weld-together kit. So if you want to build a cross cart or something like that, this is a really, really good way to do it because you have all their engineering, it's proven, and everything is cut, notched, and set up to just fit together and weld up. So it's really cool that they're making that available for people to build their own Serra cars, something like this. That'd be an amazing project to do. Quantum Machinery was at the show with their Siegmund weld tables as well as some of their other equipment, and these Siegmund tables, I've been using mine in my shop for a year and a half or so, and the quality is just phenomenal. I thought this setup was pretty cool where you could actually adjust the height of the full fabrication table simply just with a foot pedal there. Or this flat top here that comes at a more affordable price without the vertical sides on it, and also has some storage solutions for some of your things. Now, as I was talking to them, I was impressed with how much of their equipment they're keeping in stock. They've expanded their warehouse to be able to ship quickly. They're also expanding product lines to include some more affordable options without compromising on quality at all. So I thought that was really cool. As I walk through the show, it's awesome to just see different cars of every variety all over the place and just appreciate the art and hard work that people have put into all of these show pieces. Now, it is really big, and I just couldn't bring myself to spend $9 for a hot dog, so I held out till dinner, and it can be a little bit of an exhausting day. But there is fun at every corner on all scales. I mean, where else do you see just a bunch of grown men drifting with RC cars? I stopped by the Harbor Freight booth, and I needed to check out their new welding table that they're offering. Now, it's similar to some that are offered by other brands, but it comes with the functionality of a fixture table with some clamps included in the kit. And really, how can you go wrong for a price of $170 to really get you going? Now, they also had this new stand for portable bandsaws to make them a horizontal bandsaw or a vertical bandsaw to be able to make all kinds of different cuts, and I haven't tried one out. It looks like it can make a portaband a whole lot more useful. I wanted to look at their Series 3 toolboxes. I've been using US General for about 10 years, and I'm thinking about upgrading. They put double slides on the larger drawers on some of the models and also have a charging strip inside one of the drawers. They have different things like a light you can get for the hutch, as well as several different accessories. So I think they do offer quite a bit of bang for the buck. Now, over at the Fireball tool booth, I took a look at some of the squares. I've had these squares. You've probably seen me use several of these on the channel for quite a while. But they had some other products that I think have been out for a little bit, but I hadn't seen, such as these clamp kits, where you can actually use some 1" by 2" tubing and install those on there to make a clamp. Now, for their huge vices, they had a competition to see if you could hit a number you've spun on the wheel, and I overshot it with 15,500 pounds. I didn't even feel like I was pulling that hard, but it racked up quite a bit of force in a hurry on that. Next, I stopped by the Mittler Brothers booth and took a look at these little fabrication presses. I thought these had looked pretty interesting for quite a while. They have a louver press on it, and you can just press them in just this simply. And I like that it doesn't have any hydraulics or anything. It's just a simple operation. I got to try it, and it was pretty easy to use. They also have dies for them to punch a hole and put a dimple in, all in one operation. So I thought that looked pretty cool, and I took a look at these tubing notchers. Now, this is way overkill for anything I'll have in my shop anytime soon, but it's pretty cool to see how they milled it away. One last American-made brand I had to take a look at was Burr King. Now, these are not cheap, but they are built like a tank with these heavy-duty castings and geared up setup. So I barely scratched the surface at this show. I would like to go back again. Now, this is a different sort of video than I've made in the past. I'd love to know what you think of it. If you'd like to see me cover more things like this and go more in depth, let me know down in the comments. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this, let me know by hitting that thumbs up below, and we'll see you next time.